how serious was, since we're on the subject of LeBron, how serious was this trade with Golden State?
I don't think it was serious. I don't think it was serious. I mean, it was serious enough to have an owner-to-owner conversation. So I guess it was that serious. But like the Lakers had no interest in trading LeBron, and that was like Rob Pelinka when asked by Daryl Morey about oh, is LeBron available? Are you interested in trading him? He's like, well, give me Joel Embiid, and then I'll consider it. So I was like, I think the Lakers had
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that would be a fun trade. But for the Lakers, like if you just look at the legacy and the history of the franchise, like they pride themselves on being that franchise that has had the greatest players of all time. And if you look at like make your top 10 list, and you're probably going to have 5 or 6 guys who have played for the Lakers at least. And you can make a case that could even be higher depending on how you feel about certain guys. So like the Lakers pride themselves on that, and they want LeBron to retire a Laker. They don't want to trade him. LeBron doesn't want to be traded. I think that's something that he prides himself on, is he's never been traded. Like, yes, he basically started this player empowerment movement, but it's always been him when he's a free agent. He's honored his contracts. He's served for his teams. And then it's okay. I'm going to go to Miami because I was here for 7 years and we never won. And then after Miami, it's, I want to come back home and bring a title to Cleveland. And then it's, I want to go, sow my roots in LA and kind of build my life out there. So I think, he's always honored his contracts. And that to me is something that he prides himself on. So, I mean, I will say, I think the two most interesting things about this are there clearly was from a league-wide perspective, the response to him tweeting that hourglass emoji, and just sort of his clear frustration with the way that the season was going at that time. People thought he was available, right? Like, you're not calling. I mean, maybe Daryl Morey is the exception, but like people thought that he was potentially gettable for Golden State to reach out, for Philly to reach out. Who knows? Maybe there was other conversations that we'll just never know about. But then B, the fact that Jeannie Buss, like, while the Lakers were saying, no, we don't want to trade him, she also said, like, talk to Rich Paul. And if they want to be traded and if they're unhappy, like, we'll honor that. So they did give him an out. He chose not to take that out. But I thought that was interesting of like, is the Spurs aren't giving like Victor Wembanyama an out, right? No. And it's two totally different situations. One guy's a rookie, one guy's in year 21. But the fact that they even presented a potential exit plan for him, I find interesting. So
I think when you got a guy like LeBron, right? If maybe you don't say it publicly, but if he wants out, like that's the only scenario. If he says, "Hey, I've done my time here. I brought you guys a championship. I'm whatever the situation is right now. I think it's time for me to move on." I think they respect him enough to say, "Okay, if that's what you want." So the fact that he said, "No, I don't want out," and Rich Paul says, "Hey, we have no intention of leaving," that's why nothing happened. I do want to just quickly clarify 2 points because that's what I do. So I apologize. One, he was traded, sign and trade with the Cavaliers and the Heat. So technically it was a sign and trade. So technically, I know it's a technicality. And two, he actually didn't. He honored his contract in Miami, but he didn't because he signed for 6 years. But the last 2 were a player option, because the people in the chat are going to kill us if we don't say this. The last 2 were player option that he opted out of. So yes,
but he never left mid-season or something.
Yeah. He never got.
I guess like he's never held a team hostage the way that we've seen certain stars hold their team hostage.
Right.
He didn't do a great, more recently.
Paul George re-sign and then right away say trade me to the Clippers.
Yeah, like he's never leveraged his power in that way. Now he has, of course, leveraged his power in free agency. He's held his team's feet to the fire by signing these like 1+1s, especially in Cleveland, where it was like every year you got to keep this roster at a certain level, otherwise I'm leaving. So like I don't want to say he's never. I mean, he wields his power as much as anybody in the league, if not the most we've ever seen a player wield their power. But I think for him, like the technicality of he's never been, I'm upset, get me out of here, trade me. It's always been, if I can opt out or if I am a free agent, I will leave if I so choose. It's never been, him causing this kind of like, you know, you need to trade me right now. And so, but I get if people want to push back on that.
I want to make sure that, But and the thing is, he's not the first, right? Like the last few years in Chicago, Jordan was signing 1 year contract, 1 year contract, 1 year contract, and saying, if you keep us together, I resign. If you don't, I retire. And when they didn't, he retired. So he's not the first to do it. He's not going to be the last to do it.